So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
this guy comes in on Fridays. He is, what can I say? When it comes to music, when it comes to movies, when it comes to streaming, it comes to the arts for that matter. He's at art shows and photo exhibitions, and you're really quite extraordinary, Michael. I really mean it. I'm not being facetious when I say that. Everything else I say from now on will be facetious, though. He comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for Michael Snyder, the Culture Blaster? Hello, sir.
Yeah, I am, in fact, the Mark Thompson Show redheaded stepchild, shunted to the very end of the line, despite actually being kind of a graying brunette. Thanks a lot, Mark. By the way, Kim, is there any truth to the rumor that the USC Trojans graduation ceremony will be happening inside a giant wooden horse?
Oh, my God. I get it. Because of the Trojans.
Wraps.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm really
Hey, before we get to the movies, I am so excited to reveal that I have just been hired as the spokesperson for a great new product. If you're sick and tired of neighbors allowing their dogs to relieve themselves on your lawn, you've heard of garden gnomes. Now get ready for the Christie gnome, a life-size replica of the vicious South Dakota governor that is sure to scare the bejesus out of any canine who sees it. You know it. They are scared.
No.
Those dogs are running scared, man.
Yeah, she definitely has a tough love attitude.
Yeah, the Christie gnome.
Yeah.
The star-powered American-made movies I'm covering this week are two examples of delightful piffle.
Okay.
And one woeful waste of talent. And the real gold is in the overseas fair. Shall we get to the movies?
Yes, we will. And I have a prediction that I had shared days ago. I didn't send it to you, though. It strikes me as so foolish. But I'll read you the text that I sent others about one of the films. I see it on your list here, and I'm very curious to see whether you agree. So go ahead.
Okay. Do you remember the twin cinematic sensations of last summer? That's right. Barbenheimer.
Oh, yes.
So some producer or director or studio or casting director or a combination of them decided a clever box office ploy would be to team the male co-star of Barbie with the female co-star of Oppenheimer in an action-driven romantic comedy set in the glamorous grind of Hollywood movie making.
Wow.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but
And
it just
so
might work.
that's what they did with Ryan Gosling and Emily Mrs. Oppenheimer Blunt as movie industry lifers. So
I love it.
there is fluff and fun and serious star power afoot in The Fall Guy, which takes its name and some of its concept from the 1980s Lee Major TV series.
Sure.
And puts a modern spin, and some of the concepts are there as well, like I said, and puts a modern spin on it. Majors was, back in the day, Colt Seavers, a stuntman and bounty hunter, and Heather Thomas was Jody Banks, the hot blonde cohort.
Oh, yes.
As
Heather
well as
Thomas.
a stunt person and a fellow bounty hunter.
Weren't they married in real life?
Dude, do I look like TMZ to you? I have no idea. Anyway, in this update and reimagining, Gosling as Seavers is the fall guy of the title, a top-of-the-heap stuntman who is in love with Blunt as Jody Moreno, notice a different last name, a camera woman with aspirations to direct. Isn't that always the case, by the way? Camera people, they want to be
direct.
They all want to be directors. So the bounty hunting aspects of the TV show are tweaked a bit. Colt is the go-to stunt double for the arrogant action star Tom Ryder, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson from Kick-Ass and soon-to-be Kraven the Hunter. And purportedly, Taylor Johnson is the next James Bond. So he's got action star bona fides.
All right.
Okay. So when Colt is doubling for Ryder and is seriously injured during a business-as-usual multi-story drop off a ledge, he drops out of sight, drops Jody, and drops his career until he is requested to come out of retirement to do stunts on another Ryder vehicle, which is a big-budget sci-fi western that's being shot in Australia. And here's why he agrees to do it. It's the first movie to be directed by Jody. And he kind of, he's heartbroken and he wants to support her.
Mm-hmm.
So while the Colt-Jody relationship is less than cordial at this point, the movie is facing bigger problems. Well, the story is Ryder has gone AWOL, and the producer of the film, Gail Meyer, played by Hannah Waddingham, by the way, of Ted Lasso, she orders Colt to find the wayward star bounty hunter style if he wants to save Jodie's directorial debut. So that's what's on the line. So Colt just wants to reconcile with the reluctant Jodie, even as he's put through the stunt ringer and has to deal with Ryder's unsavory entourage and worse. The interplay between Gosling and Blunt, I mean, all charisma, wit, and chemistry, is the strongest selling point for the Fall Guy, although the stunts are, as you would expect, wild and brutal, and some of the showbiz inside stuff is amusing. Even Waddingham's cliche of a producer generates a little bit of smirkage thanks to her broad comic skills. David Leitch, the director of The Fall Guy, was an actual stuntman when he started out in the business, and I think purportedly for Jean-Claude Van Damme and I think Brad Pitt. And he went on to direct action movies, including Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and Bullet Train, which are kind of fun action films, and all of which I liked a little better than The Fall Guy. Okay, ultimately, The Fall Guy is neither as culture-quaking as Barbie, nor as artistically significant as Oppenheimer. Instead, it's an expensive-looking, sometimes silly, very good-natured and disposable movie that reminded me how empty calories can be kind of delicious when you're wolfing them down, even if you may feel unfulfilled later.
Oh, wow. So you kind of liked it okay.
Yeah, it's high on the fun meter for me.
Good.
It's just not a great film. It's product, buddy.
It's in theaters.
It is indeed in theaters. Okay. Like Emily Blunt, Mark, Anne Hathaway is a beautiful, accomplished actress in her early 40s. They're both 41, by the way, and they're both incredibly lovely. Mm-hmm. So Hathaway hasn't had the blockbuster success of Blunt and has seemed to be laying low in the indie movie realm of late. That said, The Idea of You, adapting a best-selling romantic novel of the same name, is an ideal vehicle for Hathaway's sort of winsome rom-com charms. In The Idea of You...
Winsome is a ding word, please.
She is Solène, a 40-something art gallery owner and single mom who finds herself caught up in a love affair with a 24-year-old singer in one of the most popular boy bands in the world. So, yeah, a little May-December or December-May. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, it all gets going when Solène takes her teenage daughter to Coachella. Oh, my God.
Wow.
When I saw they were going to Coachella, I thought, oh, this is a horror movie. Because I don't want to go to a giant festival. Yeah. Anyway, at Coachella, they attend a meet and greet with members of said boy band, August Moon. Sparks fly between Solène and singer Hayes Campbell, played by Nicholas Galitzine. And the rest is a trip from Coachella to Cougar City, baby. That's where they're heading. Anyway, I'm kidding. The relationship is handled tastefully. Hathaway and Galitzine are sweet together, and the potentially lurid aspects of the story never kind of manifest, except when it comes to how the paparazzi, social media, and August Moon fans react to the affair when it's revealed in story. Getting with the star apparently leads to star-crossed romance. I mean, who knew? Everybody. Anyway, The Idea of You was directed by comedy pro Michael Showalter, a former member of MTV's The State, the guy behind Wet Hot American Summer, The Big Sick, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and it's from a screenplay he co-wrote with Jennifer Westfeldt. Yeah, I have to tell the truth. For all of the expected soapiness I expected, this was pretty easy to swallow. Kind of like the Ben and Jerry some might eat while watching this at home instead of wasting time on substandard Lifetime or Hallmark channel.
Is it streamable or is it in theaters?
It is in theaters, but it's
but
also...
But you'd wait for it to be...
No,
okay.
It's also dropping on Amazon Prime right now. So continuing full disclosure, the movie... has music played by Campbell and August Moon, and it's totally believable as the sort of modern pop that makes kids squeal. The Idea of You, good of kind, as we like to say.
No. What's next, Michael?
Okay, we got a something here, and I think it's what you were expecting.
Oh, this is unfrosted?
Yeah, it's unfrosted, baby.
Let me just tell you I don't know. I know your review is already decided. The cake is already baked.
Yes, it is. And in fact, I'm smeared with icing right now.
A couple of days ago.
Okay.
I said the Jerry Seinfeld unfrosted movie is going to... And by the way, I am not a hater of Jerry Seinfeld. In fact, I saw him in the 70s in New York at the Improv. Then crosstown, I went and saw Bill Maher at the Catch a Rising Stars. I was a fan of comedy, and he's top of the game.
Sure.
For sure. So, but he's also now surrounded by yes people. And I think, so here's what I have, and then I'll let you speak. I'm sorry.
Sure.
But I said, this Jerry Seinfeld Unfrosted movie is going to be unfunny at best and bad in every way at worst. It has all the markings of a movie that's going to be brutally awful. I've watched interviews with Seinfeld. This is me writing this text 2 days ago. I've watched interviews with Seinfeld talking about it, and I'll say it's going to be a giant dud. I thought they put together all these things. The more I heard, the more it sounded like a chunk of his stand-up act and not really a movie.
What's the deal with Jerry Seinfeld complaining about cancel culture and wokeness, then co-writing, directing, and starring in Unfrosted? It's a movie that is so odd in concept, ham-handed in execution, and reliant on product placement that it seemed to cancel all of its extremely talented cast members.
Yeah.
He gathered all these talented people. And speaking of woke, I'm surprised I was able to stay awake throughout it. It's admittedly a trim hour and a half running time, but yikes. Anyway.
You kind of agree. It didn't work.
Yeah, the premise is that Jerry's character, a cereal company executive by the name of, are you ready for this? Oh, my God. His character's name, Bob Cabana. Okay. I don't know if that's supposed to be funny or just goofy, but Bob Cabana is recounting the true story behind the supposed 1963 battle in Battle Creek, Michigan, between Kellogg's and Post to come up with the first successful toaster pastry.
But it's not a true story. The movie is not true. It's completely invented.
Yeah, but you know.
No, but I'm saying in the world of, I don't mean to weigh in on this, but it's just so much a part of the culture right now. Tetris and BlackBerry.
Yes.
These are, those are real life stories that they also make quirky.
Well, I have to say, though, Jim Gaffigan is playing the head of Kellogg. His name is Edsel Kellogg III, so it's clearly a true story. Okay, so Seinfeld's character, Melissa McCarthy, and Gaffigan are the Kellogg's cornflakes, so to speak, and Amy Schumer and Max Greenfield from New Girl are the Post Toasties, if you will.
Sure, they're talented people in this movie.
Among the other notables on screen, get ready, Hugh Grant, slumming as a thwarted Shakespearean actor, reduced to being Kellogg's man in the Tony the Tiger costume.
That's a funny concept.
I wish I could say he was great.
Oh,
but
God.
Not really. Anyway, they give their all. Christian Slater.
Don't applaud that, Albert.
Christian Slater is an evil milkman representing the dairy industry. Christian Slater. And James Marsden is fitness guru Jack LaLanne. How he gets involved, you'd have to suffer through the movie to find out.
No.
And there are so many others. This was so obvious and tiresome, although each cameo by a literal parade of top-notch comedic actors, including various Saturday Night Live cast members and alumni. All right, I don't want to blow it, but, John Hamm and John Slattery show up, So
right.
you do the math, as they say. That gave me a brief jolt. I wanted to see what they could do with the hackneyed material they were given. So
are the jokes not funny, or does the concept just fall?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. A veteran joke writer, Spike Fierstein, is involved in the script.
Spike is very good.
He must have cashed the check and run, or I don't know.
No.
I'll simply say that many of the setups and jokes were such pointless throwaways that it started to feel like a game of, okay, can you bottom this? Instead of, can you top this?
I got it.
It needs to be said. Okay, Seinfeld is or was a very good observational stand-up comic, but regardless of the massive success of Seinfeld, which I think is largely due to Larry David.
Apparently.
Seinfeld was never a very good comedic actor. He was a decent straight man for Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jason Alexander, and Michael Richards. Every time Jerry's character on Frosted is supposed to be saying or doing something funny, it comes off as pretty flat.
I have to say, I'm glad you touch on this, because that's when I knew it was going to be lame. Once I heard he wrote, directed, produced, and starring. And when the starring is the key, you can do the others, but starring, I knew that the best it would be a 7, because he on a 10 scale, because he just isn't an actor for the reasons that you articulated. I'm so glad that that is indeed borne out in the sense that,
Mark, this is his Citizen Kane, Mark. That's for all you cineasts out there. Oh, my God. All right. I got to cleanse the palate. I'm sorry.
So anyway, that's missable.
Yeah, oh, boy. But yeah, it's on Netflix, so
Right.
you could just sit down and be disgusted on your own at home.
What if I got really high?
You know what? If you got really high, you should
It might work.
watch the following movie instead.
Okay.
With Mars Express, we have a first-time French director, Jérémy Perrin, and he has fashioned a cyberpunk film noir knockout that evokes and deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as sci-fi classic Blade Runner and animated sci-fi watershed Ghost in the Shell. Perrin uses spectacular animation, note-perfect voice acting in English and in French, depending upon what version you watch, and a gorgeous electronica-dappled score to bring to life his smart and complex mystery set on Mars in the year 2200 after a thrilling opening segment on Earth. So here's the deal. Hard-drinking private investigator, our heroine, Aline Ruby, and an emotionally turbulent android copy of her late partner, Carlos, are working on a case for their former military comrade, Chris Royjacker, who is now a tech millionaire. So when a young woman is murdered and that woman's roommate disappears, Aline and Carlos find themselves on the hunt for the missing girl, and what they uncover as they make their way through the dark underbelly of a domed Martian city populated by humans, robots, cyborgs, and androids is a plot so massive that it's going to impact all sentient creatures in our solar system. My God, I was really blown away by this.
Wow.
One of the coolest things about Mars Express, besides its phenomenal look, is how it addresses the validity of artificial life and the status and rights of mechanical citizens in this speculative future reality.
Sure. I mean, that's very of the moment.
And as a noirish thriller, Mark, it is a killer. There is a version of Mars Express that's dubbed into English and one in the original French with English subtitles. You know, the latter features the voice of French actress Léa Drucker as Elaine and one of France's most accomplished and well-regarded leading men and a James Bond villain, Mathieu Amalric. I recommend the French version. It is in select theaters, and it's going to be rocking good on streaming when it gets there. But I know my buddy and writing partner, Alan White, is eager to watch this on the big screen.
Wow. Sounds very intriguing and love noir. So
Yeah.
I'll look forward to noiring it up.
Let's quickly wrap up.
All right.
Exploitation, environmental concerns, something near and dear to you, community, and corporate malfeasance are just a few of the thematic elements of Evil Does Not Exist.
I'll ding something you
Malfeasance,
said.
I think you
Yes,
want.
there you go.
The Japanese director-screenwriter Ryosuke Hamaguchi has made a thoughtful drama about the destructive effects of a well-moneyed company's plan to develop a high-end glamping site in an otherwise unspoiled alpine area not too many miles from Tokyo.
I love this already. Oh,
So this commercial enterprise looks very likely to poison the water supply of the cozy rural town nearby.
wow.
So, morality and greed come into play.
Sure.
The citizens don't know whether to bring the economic benefits in. What are they going to do? Are they
Right.
risking the future of their children? And our hero, of course, has offspring. Anyway, Hamaguchi won all kinds of attention and awards for his previous movie, the lengthy and challenging Drive My Car. This is much leaner, more straightforward, although it quietly leads to a very strange and mysterious climax. When it's over, you may have a very different take than the one stated in the movie's title, Evil Does Not Exist.
Wow.
it's
I'm
in-
excited. Where is that?
Select theaters, and when it comes to video on demand, I think rock and roll, buddy.
That is just terrific. So, Michael, we'll just review. Evil Does Not Exist. The story of a glamping campsite set up near a home and village. And it sounds as though sort of the promise of economic thriving aspects of this new increased business and attention might have been offset by the environmental damage, might I say toxicity and danger associated with this. Is what I'm getting from your review.
Do these people want tourists in their lovely
Or do they want life?
meadows and glens?
Right. Mars Express. So he says Evil Does Not Exist in theaters is a winner. Mars Express from first-time French director Jérémy Perrin.
Well done, Mark.
It's the my mom was a French teacher. Cyberpunk mystery is a noirish thriller.
Set in the far future.
And Michael really likes it and encourages everyone to see Mars Express. It is in select theaters. Unfrosted, which is the reimagined birth of the Pop-Tart that Jerry Seinfeld has assembled a murderer's row of talent for, but he sadly didn't think it all the way through. And Michael says it is thoroughly, start to finish, unimpressive and awful. The Idea of You is the Anne Hathaway film. It chronicles this love affair between a single mother and the lead singer of a popular boy band.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Nicholas, how does he say it?
Galancine.
And Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, I thought I was going to say bye. Kind of like
because they're like the Backstreet Boys? Or
yeah, Backstreet. But no, I did not.
You liked it. The Idea of You is in theaters. Wow.
No, The Idea of You is not only in theaters, it is on Amazon Prime
yes,
Video.
It's in theaters and simultaneously on Amazon Prime Video. Wow, what a great offering. I'm so glad we stayed on the air to accommodate you.
Yeah, don't forget The Fall Guy.
Oh, and The Fall Guy, I'm so sorry. Yeah, The Fall Guy is the Ryan Gosling film. And it was pointed out in the chat, and I'll just address this now. Lee Majors, as you mentioned, had been the original Fall Guy on the ABC series. John says, wasn't Lee Majors the $6 Million Man? Yes, he was. He was both.
We can rebuild him as a stuntman, though.
Yes. And smirkage, it's suggested by Trevor, is a ding word. I didn't ding smirkage because it's not really a word.
No, it's a coinage.
Yeah, but I did like it, but I understand why I meant. Anyway, he likes The Fall Guy. He says it's good sort of popcornish entertainment.
Our friend Heather came to the movie with me and went, it's garbage, and they've left so much garbage in their wake. She's very environmentally concerned.
I know. I like that about Heather and anyone who thinks beyond where their trash is going.
Yeah.
Michael, this is really great. I want to celebrate again your new home, which is Voice of San Francisco, correct?
It is indeed at thevoicesf.org. Supposedly, there's an article about franchise fatigue it's up there now, or it's going to be up there soon. But we've got 3 articles archived or in progress, and obviously, in concert with my appearances, so to speak, on the Mark Thompson Show, I'm happy to deliver the goods and the news on what's happening culturally.
The Voices, thevoicesf.org.
Yes.
The Voice SF.org is where you can find Michael Snyder's musings about any number of subjects. He is the culture blaster. You can find him across social media under that handle as well. He comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for the culture blaster, Michael Snyder? Thank you, Michael.
Go Giants.
Go Giants. Right on, bro.